Hey, it's Jim Howard, Trinity Security Allies. It is Facebook Live on May 17th, 2020. We're with Trinity Security Allies again. Our ministry is your church's safety. You can find out more about us at trinitysecurityallies.com. We do a Facebook Live every Sunday night at 8 o'clock for 30 minutes. We are a nonprofit. All of those that are listening, we're looking for financial partners, and we're trying to get them to help us get the word out. 90% of the churches in the country are under 500 or less, and we would like to reach those without having too much of a financial burden on them. We are on YouTube now. We're really excited about that. We just put our last webinar out there, Carrying Weapons in Your Church. So go out and check it out if you didn't have a chance to see it last Thursday. We had a good crowd of people. Wendy told me we had 17 different states that we hit last week. So this is really good. We're really excited about it. We do have training in Facebook Lives, and then we have the Zoom training this Wednesday. We're going to be on Wednesday night because Wendy and I and the girls are taking a vacation, so much needed vacation. We're heading up and getting out in the country just to live a little bit, to relax. But on 5/21 on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we're going to be talking Sunday morning, what do you look for? It's one of our ebooks out there that you can go and get. And we're going to have a special guest, Simon Ozeman. Now, if you don't know about Simon Ozeman, he's the founder of the Worship Security Association. I had an opportunity to meet him a couple of months ago. This is how God works. About right when we first started the ministry, I went out and was doing research on what other churches were doing, what other people were doing. And I came across an article written by Simon. I'd never heard of him before. A few months ago, I was introduced to him by another group of guys, the church safety guys that were out here. And it was just really funny because I agreed with what Simon was talking about. And when I had an opportunity to actually look at his stuff, he is the type of guy that I would, love to work with. He's just one of those guys that's really smart. And you got to come out and listen. Now, those who are on Wednesday night, Simon has offered free copies of his book, Church Suspicious Behavior. I've got a few of them. So those that do come out, we will be giving away some of these books because he's graciously given us some. So register, get on out here. Wendy's going to put the link out there for us. It's also on our webpage, and you can find it on Facebook also. But do come out. We'd love to see you out there, and we're looking forward to talking, getting you to see how Simon and I both bounce off of each other and think about the same thing. Let's get started. Let us know where you are from. Okay. We had a wonderful thing that happened at our church today. We had a drive-in church service. It was fantastic. It was unbelievable. It went really well. We tried very hard. We pulled the cars in. Well, we worked and got a permit with the county. We worked really hard with them. And we tried to make sure that people, did the social distancing and kept themselves safe and things like that. It was a lot of fun. It was very orderly. We were really happy about it, very impressed with how it went. Of course, it'll probably be the only time we do it because of just the cost alone. It was very expensive for us to do it the right way. And but the thing that we were concerned about more than anything else, we knew that people would not be able to sit inside their cars. We know that. We know that church members want to see each other. And a couple of the people did get out of their cars and talk a little bit. But once the service started, they got back in the cars and everything was good. But it went really well. We were really happy and pleased with it. But there's a lot of churches that are calling the Trinity Security Allies and asking us about re-entering into the church. One church this weekend, they had some questions. They said, how what about the legality of this? Well, check with your CDC, your state, and your local laws. Some states still have not opened up to churches. I find that sad. I find that wrong. But it's one of these things that, we need to be really careful about. And we're going to talk about that a little bit after this right here, because one of the other things that the church asked me was liability and insurance. And of course, I related the story of the Tampa pastor that was arrested for opening his church up. And then he made a statement about how, he was going to close his church because he wasn't going to have his people in his church being harassed by the local government. Well, that's kind of one way of looking at it. But what we found out was that his insurance said, we're going to cancel you. We're going to shut you down because we're concerned about liability issues. You get somebody that comes into your church and because you may be saying that you're practicing the CDC requirements, but there's always somebody in there with a video camera. There's always somebody in there with a phone and recording stuff. And if somebody does get the virus from being inside your church, there's some things you really need to be concerned about and prepared for. So this is just one of these things that we're going to go into more here in a little bit. They also asked about the Department of Homeland Security threats that we put out. We talked about a couple of weeks ago. We have not gotten any more news on that, but I'm going to talk about that because I think that it could be right around the corner here. We just have to be really smart about this. All right. So when people are coming back to your churches, what we're going to be looking at is there's four different types of people that are coming to your church. There are those that your church members that they can't wait to get into the church. They're all excited about it and everything like that. But there are those, and trust me, today when we were at the service, there were some people that really still feel that the virus is a hoax. Tell that to the family members who have lost people to this serious virus. It is serious. It is serious. We've seen it all across the world. It isn't just in the United States, it's across the world. So it is a serious virus. We have to understand that. We can't play games with this, okay? We have to be smart about this. There are also those that are going to come to your church that are afraid. We've already started talking to them. I've got several of my men's group guys that just do not want to come out of their house. We have to make sure that we really, truly believe in God and trust in God that he is in control, but we cannot let it shut us down completely. And of course, there are those that are going to think that it's the end of the world. Those are your prophets that you need to be careful about because they may come in and disrupt your church service. So we need to make sure that we're kind of watching for those three people that we talk about, not the members that are coming in that are excited about it. Yay, great. Make sure they do social distancing or try as much as possible, but let us be smart about it. You have to be careful what you wish for because I saw two separate news articles today, two separate headlines. One was person with coronavirus attends Mother Day religious service in California and exposes 180 to the virus, health officials say. I read the article and I was really impressed with who did the article because they didn't list the church where this happened at. I appreciate that immensely because that just puts a bad name on that church. And now, of course, the people out here that are saying we shouldn't go back are going to be really harping on this and saying, see, look, the churches are the ones that are going to be bringing us back or bringing us back into, a pandemic. Now, I read the other article that's, like I said, both sides of the spectrum. The second article that I read was on a pastor that said, I believe that every day a church is closed, a bit of liberty dies. We need people to stand up and roar. There is a time to be quiet, a time to be a lamb, but today is the day to be a lion. Man, I like that. But here's a problem here. Here's a big problem here. He has now just put a target on his back and everybody in his congregation. Is that what you really want to do to your church? I mean, let's be realistic about that. Is that the thing that you're wanting to do? I love his enthusiasm. And believe me, I want to get back into the church just as much as everybody else does. But when you say something like that, because, listen, we already are in a fallen world. We already know that, I'm just speaking from my own experience. We live in a fallen world. I mean, when we talk in our Monday night men's group, we talk about things that we are seeing that really we are concerned about. We are in a time where it is very easy to blame things on the church, but let's not blame this on the church. Let's try to remember that we do want to get together. And yes, he made valid points. He talked about he was trying to do an Easter egg hunt where he did everything that the CDC required him to do, but yet the health department came and shut him down. And he also, when he was talking to the people from the health department, he said, look across the street, you got a restaurant that's got a drive-through window where they're allowing kids to hand out French fries, sodas, and meals with no gloves on, no mask on. But yet you've closed down the church. Look, I think that that's a little bit of hypocrisy all around. I agree with it. But do you want to put the target on your church? Listen to what I said. The people that are going to be coming back to your church when we get back in, some of them are going to believe that the virus is a hoax, but there's also those that think it's the end of the world. And if you continue to do what you're going to do, you're just going to make it quicker. Hear what I'm saying here. I do want to reopen the church. We call it reenter. We never closed our church. We just started doing it online. We were smart about it. I do want to get back into the church. I can't wait to get back into the church to see my friends. Today was such an experience to have people coming in, and we had 3 services where people lined up in their cars and honked and praised God. And you know, you could see the cars rocking as the music was going on. It was fantastic. We did communion again together. We had prayer. You know, we did all the things that we needed to do, and we were able to worship again. And you know what? Not one person seemed to complain about it. Now, we don't know. There might have been somebody across the street that said, look, that church is doing it over there. But we did it a smart and right way. If you see, now this pastor who said, hey, we're going to go live, that state had told them not to. So you're going against the state. And listen, I love the way he said it. I believe that every day, you know, we need to stand up and roar. Fantastic. Great. You know, he went on to say, we have a right to peacefully assemble. Agree. We want to be smart, be safe, be caring. We have all sorts of precautions put together, extra sterilization. We're taking care of everything, but we want to know our religious freedom isn't going to die with us. I think that we've had a little bit of a religious awakening right now. My personal opinion, this is just me saying this, but we have seen in our churches online experiences growing, online attendance growing. I listen to webinars all the time, and when they go to the churches and talk about offering, which is one of the things that churches were truly afraid of, if people aren't in the church, they're not going to give. And most of these churches, when they were asked, 1 out of 5, how much is your church being able to work because of offering that's coming in? Almost all of them had said 5 or 4. They're 5 or 4. That means that 80% to 100% of the offerings are still coming in because we as the Christians who support our church are still supporting our church. We believe in it. We want to live for it. We would die for it. But we need to make sure that we pick the right battles. Okay? I am all about wanting to get back into the church, but what about the people in the church? You know, if the local government does go after that church, think of the court costs. And if they do shut down your church, where are the people going to go? You know, somebody out there is saying, well, you know, there's attorneys all around the world that would love to represent a church that states that their rights are violated. Sure they are. But what happens in between? You know, what happens when you win at the end? You were right. But what about all you put your congregation through? Is that really what you're wanting to do right now? Is to put your congregation through something that I truly feel that this is going to start to end here soon? God is in control. He's not going to let the church die. He didn't let the church die back when the Christians got started and the Romans went after them and tried to get rid of all of them. The church didn't die there. We're not going to die. But what we need to understand is we need to be smart about it. And even Christ taught us about this. And I think this is something that we really need to pay attention to. In Matthew 10:16, when he went to send his disciples out into the world, he said, I am sending you out like sheep among wolves. Therefore be as shrewd as snakes and innocent as doves. Now, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to be a snake. No, you don't understand. The serpent was subtle, crafty, shrewd. The dove, on the other hand, was thought as innocent and harmless. 19th century pastor Charles Simons provided a wonderful comment on the serpent and the dove imagery. He said, now the wisdom of the one and the harmlessness of the other are very desirable to be combined in the Christian character because it is by such a union only that Christians will be able to cope successfully with his more powerful enemies. There are people that would love to shut down the churches. They would love to shut down the churches. You don't think that's one of the reasons why we're like one of the last ones to get back together? But remember, we don't want to be that church that an outbreak happens. What would you feel? How would you feel if you were so proud? Because this is kind of how I feel sometimes about these that want to get back in there and put it in the government's face. How proud would you feel if one of your most loved elderly people caught the virus and died? How proud would you feel about that? Yeah, I was right. My First Amendment rights, I protected them. But Mrs. Brown that's been with the church since it's open and was 80 years old and had, health issues that are really just, you don't want her to have the virus. But she catches it because, like I said, 180 people are, around it because of one person in a church, and 180 people are quarantined now. But Mrs. Brown, who passes away, because of your boldness, that you're going to shove it in the government's face and show them exactly who you are, I question your thought process there. I love my pastor. I tell you what, I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with him today after we got finished with the drive-in theater. I mean, it was just wonderful. It's just one of the best. This will go down as one of my favorite church services. You know how you have a few that you like to think about? This will go down as one of my favorites. I'm going to post pictures online of where we took pictures of the church service with a drone. It was just fantastic. But the thing of it is, when we talked afterwards, he says, I want to get back in the church. But he says, I just want to protect those that we love the most. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, I'm getting ready to do this because you're violating my rights. Not really. They've lifted guidelines. They've told us that we could do, so many people at a time. They've told us have an outside service, they wear masks, wear gloves, whatever you want to do. They haven't shut us down. They've asked us just to kind of stand on the sideline. But you know what we did? Instead of dying out and instead of shutting down, we went online. And we went online strong. And we had people that were watching the services and people who were growing in the service. My pastor told me the other day that a woman was telling him that her husband would not go to church. He doesn't like the music. He didn't want to go. He thinks it's, he had all sorts of excuses. But she said that she was watching the online service and he kind of walked by and started hearing the pastor speak and sat down and started listening. And the next thing you know, next Sunday, he's sitting right next to her again. And the next thing you know, she reaches out to the pastor and says, my husband wants to meet you because he just loves the way you talk about God and love and Christ and where we are and who we are. Okay, isn't that what we should be doing? I understand the frustration. I am totally frustrated with this. I can't stand being locked in the house. I am a people person. Well, I love to be around people. That's what God has given me as my talent, to be around people. But yet during this time frame, we've had to shut down, but we didn't shut down. They want us to shut down. The devil wants to completely get rid. He's thinking in his mind, hey, I put something out here like this, and let's see how you Christians handle it. We've handled it, and we've handled it right, but we still need to be as shrewd as snakes and innocent as doves. There are ways to get around this. There are ways to work through this, but don't put a target on your back. You remember how the Department of Homeland Security sent out that little email and said, hey, we don't have any threats right now but we're hearing the hate and the anti, this and anti that over the internet. We're seeing these web pages and stuff like that. Have somebody's grandmother die because you put them in a church and they caught the virus from that church. You want to see somebody that's angry? Have somebody's mother that has that happen because of your arrogance and your boldness. Now, what are your precautions? Smaller services, okay, great. Social distancing, fantastic. I know that we as adults know what to do. I understand that. I have been out. I've been to Walmart. I've been to Target. I've been to Dollar Tree. I've been to all these different places. Shoot, one of the restaurants opened up over here, and Wendy, I, and the girls went to it because we want to get back out again. But we're being smart about it. We're being smart about it. Yes, it may be a little bit of a slower process than we like. I want it right now. But if we go out here and we do something that people can point the finger at the church and say, you're the reason why this has happened, we're really going to be, attacked. I mean, that's just all there is to it. There's going to be people out here that feel that as soon as we get back into the churches, I mean, the articles on the article that was out there on the church that 180 people were exposed to the virus, you wouldn't believe the things that they were saying. See, we told them not to do this. See, we warned them. We told them this isn't smart. I mean, it just blasted it. And what happens? The people out there that read that and feed on that are going to once again go against the churches. There was a church that sued Zoom because of a Zoom bombing of where people broke into their meeting and put pornography out there. Look, it's very disturbing. I'm upset about it. Everybody is upset about it. But the person who wrote the article said, what about Christians turning the other cheek? Just because somebody did that, it wasn't really Zoom's fault. See, we can't even talk about our disagreement or our discomfort or our, disapproval of something happening without somebody coming back to us and saying, wait a minute. Aren't you Christians supposed to be, forgiving? Why aren't you forgiving? It's not Zoom's fault. It probably isn't Zoom's fault. Zoom did not go out and ask this person to Zoom bomb this church meeting. It didn't happen that way. It was just that we have these people out here, this fallen world that we live in, that are looking for any excuse in any way they can disrupt church services. And see, here's the thing. They can do it in secrecy because they don't have to walk into your church and do it. They can do it online and hope that nobody can catch them because they'll try to, do all the different things that they need to do to protect themselves on the other end. We talk about people sending text messages to each other because they don't have to face each other. Vile text messages or posting things online because they can do it because they're behind a screen and a keyboard. They're not face to face. We're going to run into this. But how should we accept it and what should we do? We should pray about it. Pray to God about it and make sure that our pride is not getting into this. And make sure that we're not jumping up and down and screaming about our first. They have not told us that we cannot meet. They're just asking us to be smart. Let's try to think of that. Yes, I know other places have opened up. A buddy of mine said that he went to Home Depot and saw more people in Home Depot than he's seen in his church in the last month. So he has decided he's going to have a church meeting, a sermon. He's going to do a sermon in the plumbing department. I know we're frustrated, but let's not lose our cool here. Let's do this smartly. Let's do as Christ told us to do. He sends us out in the world. He sends us out in the world. I'm sending you out like sheep among the wolves. Therefore, be as shrewd as snakes and innocent as doves. Because the whole thing about it is aren't we God's chosen people? Aren't we sons and daughters of Christ? Aren't we heirs to the throne? They can't beat us. There's no way they can beat us. Even if they shut us down, as Christ said as he went into Jerusalem, even if you told all of them to be quiet, the rocks and the trees would still sing praise of his name. They can't shut us down. Let's be smart about it. I don't want to read that a pastor is now being sued because one person came in and exposed 180 people. I don't want to read that. I don't want to read that somebody's the oldest member of the church passed away because the church decided they were going to do it because they're going to stand up against the government and all those things like that, but passed away because of the coronavirus. Be smart about it. Figure out ways of doing it. Continue to do it online because I'm telling you right now, people are out there. Going back into your church, that's a building. Going back into that building is nothing but a building. Christ lives with us, inside us. The church is inside us. Let's never forget that. We are the church. They have not shut us down. We have gotten louder. We are like lions, because as soon as it happened, we went straight to online and we put it out there. You can't throw a rock right now without hitting a church that's online. And you know what? People miss each other, but they still enjoy worshiping. We have not gotten rid of that. I just want us to be smart about it. I just want us to be, I want us to be the example. Go out here now, socialize with people, meet people, talk to people that yes, the church is going to be re-entering again here soon. But until that point in time, let me tell you about my Christ, my Lord and Savior, that has helped me through this. Let me tell you about the light that he has given me that I can pass on to you. Let me tell you about the opportunity that he's given me now to be able to witness for him in so many different ways. Look at us. We jumped on Facebook Live a while back, but now we're doing Zoom. We're reaching more people. I just told you, Thursday night, we had 17 different states come up on our webinar. This is amazing. This is amazing. So why aren't we out here just tearing this up? Just being those ones that just show the world you can throw anything at us. You can throw a virus at us. You can shut down our buildings, but we don't care. We're worshiping. We're still going to serve. And in the end, we win. We win. So be shrewd as snakes and innocent as the doves. Come out this Wednesday night. Come out this Wednesday night. Come out with me and Simon. We'll be talking about what to look for when your church re-enters, okay? Sunday morning, what to look for. These are things that we've been training. It's in the ebook. Go pick up the ebook and then read it, and we'll be going over different things. If you didn't have an opportunity to see our Facebook, our training last Thursday night, all the trainings are out there on YouTube. Just go to TrinitySecurityAllies.com. Also go to God Logic, because I was on with God Logic Project and with Kevin Haggerty talking about some of the recent events that have happened around the country. And it's just how we as a church need to be sure that we're standing up and making sure that we're helping those that are hurting. It's just very important. Thank you for coming out. I know Wendy's been jumping online and talking to you. I really appreciate everything that you've done for us. We have been doing well in this. I want to thank all those that have come out and joined because or become new members, because in July we're kicking off a paid subscription site to where you can get a lot of our training online. And we want to make sure that we continue these things like this. We're not stopping. We're not going to stop the Facebook Lives, but we're going to have some of our more detailed stuff online to where you can go online and review it. We're working with other church safety people across the country that have great points of view and great input and great insight. And so we'll be sharing a lot of their stuff also with it. We're working together really hard because we know that we are in a fallen world, but we have gotten stronger right now. We have not gotten weaker. Where I'm telling you, Satan was thinking, let me throw this virus out here, shut down the churches, and y'all people will go and hide. Yeah, we surprised him. We met him face on. With the power of Jesus Christ, we met it face on, and we're not losing. We're growing. So just be smart. Just be safe out there, okay? I'm going to leave you with this last thing. I always love this verse. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give it to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Be safe out there and be blessed. And I'll see you this week. Good night.